Wave Waram Kalawan. Welcome to the Montagne Posée Commission of Inquiry. I think you are aware that this commission was established to investigate and establish the truth regarding what happened on 5 and 6 December 2024. My name is Justice Alfred Mavedzengi. I serve as the chairperson for the commission, and at this point let me allow fellow commissioners to introduce themselves.
I am Melchior Vilot. Vicio.
On our extreme left is Ms. Chelsea Albest, who is the secretary for the commission, and I'm going to ask as per the procedure to administer the oath so that we can properly take your evidence.
Are you a Christian or you follow another denomination?
I'm a Christian.
You can kindly repeat after me. I swear
I swear
by Almighty God
by Almighty God
that the evidence
that the evidence
I shall give
I shall give
to this commission
to this commission
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, former President, and thank you, Chelsea Albest. So I will just remind you of a few rules that we need to observe throughout the hearing, and we do this for every witness that come before us. So the first one is for you to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Because that's what we are looking for at the end of the day. It is a criminal offense for anyone to deliberately share false information with the commission or withhold information from the commission or mislead the commission in any way. We ask you to conduct yourself with dignity and respect for anyone that you may make reference to during your testimony. In this case, regardless of what you think of them, we still would like you to refrain from using demeaning terms when describing them. We would like you to also respect the commissioners, to respect the process. We, as a commission, we owe a duty to respect you and to treat you with dignity throughout the process. And whenever you feel or you are of the view that we are not doing that, please let us know and we will correct that. Please answer all the questions that are asked as they are asked. It might happen that sometimes the commissioners might ask questions that look like they're a repetition. We encourage you to just answer the question as it has been put to you to the best of your knowledge. Now, because I see there is a number of people that have come to observe the hearing and some have accompanied the witness, please refrain from acting in any way that interrupt the witness when they are giving their testimony or interrupt our ability as a commission to hear what the witness is saying. So in this case, please either switch off your phones or put them on complete silence. Not vibration. Vibration still produces a sound. And if that happens, we may have to ask you to leave the room. So we don't want that. We want this to be a very smooth process. So please either switch off your phone completely or put it on complete silence. The second thing is that you are prohibited from recording the proceedings. You are prohibited from doing that. So if the security that are here, including the security that is protecting the witness, find you doing that, I encourage the security to let us know. You can just raise your hand and we will facilitate that you leave the room. Right. Then please minimize movements in the room. I expect that those who are already seated will remain seated until we take a break. Of course, the security, including those that are protecting the witness, are allowed to move around when it is necessary. As you do your duties, right? We don't want to interfere with that. You are allowed to move. I just ask that when you move without making too many sounds that interrupt what is happening here. Then there is the issue of reactions from those that are in the room that are observing. You are not allowed to react verbally or non-verbally to what the witness is saying or what the commissioners are saying. You are here to observe. And so we don't want you to start commenting verbally from the gallery or to start making non-verbal expressions that then distract what is going on here. I'm saying this because I think we had a situation where one observer was showing some displeasure at what a witness or a commissioner was saying non-verbally. So I had to engage with the observer. That is not allowed. That is interfering with the commission. And also just disorderly behavior is a criminal offense here because it means you are impeding the work of the commission. I think with that, I would like to then start the process. Is the official way of referring to a former president, or Your Excellency?
No, I mean, just call me. Well, you can, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any problems with anyone calling me Wivel, but as you say, Mr. Ramkalawan would be. Okay, yeah. That's fine. Try to forget about this former president or president or anything.
We ask this question because every witness that comes before us, we ask the same question, and we have been referred to them as Inspector so and so, Superintendent so and so, and we would like to
Mr. Ramkalawan will be okay.
Okay, all right. So we are going to take turns to ask you questions, and the questions are to do with 5 and 6 December, but they are also to do with events that the Commission deems to be directly connected to what happened on 5 and 6 December. If in your answer you want to respond in Creole, you are free to do so. What I just ask is that you give the interpreter an opportunity to interpret, and so in a way that we can hear. And if you take the view that the interpreter has not interpreted
I will also help
correctly,
him.
you help.
I will also assist him.
Okay.
Assist is the right
good.
word.
That is good. Yes, we like that. Okay, so maybe I will go first in asking questions. Maybe let's start with understanding your. So first, you were the president of the Republic at the time when the events at Montagne Posée took place 5 and 6 December. That's correct, right?
Laisse-moi premièrement dire bonjour, Monsieur le Commissionnaire, Monsieur Chair et des commissionnaires.
Let me start by firstly saying good morning to the chair and the commissioners, members of the commissioners.
M'ont vraiment apprécié qu'ils m'ont capable de venir devant sa commission.
I really appreciate that I can come before this commission.
Pour aider autres, pour assister les autres dans leur travail.
To help you and assist you in your work.
À cause moi aussi tout mon coin qui peut dire il est très important pour nous vraiment connaître qui n'est arrivé et qui meilleur nous capable en piste un tel quelque chose arriver encore.
Because I as well think that it is very important for us to understand what really happened and how to prevent something like that from happening again.
Monsieur Chair, ça l'événement tragique qui est arrivé, les 5 et les 6, il fait qu'il y en a deux, nous ferons cesser loi. Monsieur Mathiot avec Monsieur Ernesta qui perd 10 autres la vie.
That tragic event that happened on the 5th and 6th of December has been in a way that we had lost 2 of our brothers, Seychellois brothers, Mr. Mathiot and Mr. Jerry.
Premier quelque chose qui m'a fait comme président, c'était pour étendre mon condoléance avec membre de la famille.
The first thing that I did as the president was to give my condolences to the family.
Et après ça, moi aussi, Lola l'État exprime regret profond qui est tel l'incident arrivé.
And after that, on behalf of the state, I expressed the profound regret for what had happened.
Aujourd'hui, je crois qu'il est important, encore une fois, pour nous, l'État nous peut causer, l'État nous peut rôder ça la vérité. Pour nous, imaginer qu'il peut dire, il y en a des familles qui ont encore pu rôder faire un petit dans l'incident tragique.
And today, I think that it is important that when we are talking and seeking the truth, that we remember that there are the families that are still seeking closure.
Et en même temps aussi, il y en a beaucoup de monde qui ont été blessés.
And at the same time, there are many people that had been hurt.
Aucun saban tel quelque chose, nous pas capable de faire nous lisier et faire comme si autres pas arrivé.
We cannot close our eyes to any of these things and pretend that it did not happen.
Je crois qu'il est important pour nous rôder la vérité.
I think that it is important for us to seek the truth.
Quand il y a une défaillance, pour nous corriger une défaillance.
Where there were weaknesses, for us to correct those weaknesses.
Et pour nous comme un pays, spécialement là qui nous peut célébrer nos 50e l'anniversaire de l'indépendance.
And for us as a country, especially now that we are celebrating our 50th anniversary of independence.
Pour nous faire ça sapit et ouvrir un sapit côté rule of law.
For us to
close
that chapter and open another chapter whereby the rule of law can really reign.
Okay, so avec ça, moi je dire avec vous, oui, c'était moi qui suis président.
So with that, I would like to say to you, yes, I was the president.
L'événement les 5 avec les 6 est arrivé.
When the events on the 5th and 6th happened.
Okay, so thank you very much, former president, and I think we are on the same page on the objectives of this inquiry, and what really is the focus of our work is to do exactly what you have mentioned. So, because you were the president of the Republic during this time, could you please, because we want to first understand your leadership style. So could you please maybe explain to us your leadership approach, your leadership style as president?
Bon, comment un président, il est important pour moi premièrement dire que moi j'ai gagné électé en bas un slogan, c'est celle pour tous sans enfants.
As a president, it is important for me to say firstly that I was appointed under the slogan Seychelles
for all her children.
Seychelles for all her children.
Seychelles for all
her children.
For all the children.
Okay. Et basé là, mon premier approche c'était que tous ces lois, ils ont besoin d'un rôle pour jouer dans son pays.
And based on that, my first approach was that every Seychellois must have a role to play in his country.
Et qu'il n'y a pas aucune discrimination pour qui on vote et pour qui on pas vote.
And that there should be no discrimination for whom you have voted for and whom you have not voted for.
Avec ça, tout le monde qui continue à travailler dans civil service.
With that, everyone kept on working in the civil service.
Et en plus que ça, il y a beaucoup de consultation.
And more to that, there was a lot of consultation.
Moi, tu donnes tout bon chef qui gagne à pointer, ça l'espace pour les autres faire autres travail et pour les autres prendre autres responsabilités.
I gave all the chief that was appointed the space for them to do their work and to take their responsibility.
So, à d'autres moments, capable de dire que mon style leadership, c'était un côté de beaucoup de consultation.
In other words, I can say that my leadership style was one of that there was a lot of consultation.
Mais en même temps aussi, moi, j'ai tout le temps insisté que travail et action appropriée, il gagne fait et pas gagne retardé.
And at the same time, I always insisted that the work the work itself should be done in a appropriate time and that there's no delay.
So, avec ça, moi, j'ai tout le temps resté comme a man of the people, prêt avec mon peuple.
With that, I always stayed as like a man of the people and remained close to my people.
Thank you very much for. I think that gives us a picture of how you perceived your leadership approach. Now let's move to the way you organized your government, because one of the powers and functions that you have once you are elected as president is the discretion to organize your government. So, and insofar as management of security services or the security sector of the country, how was your government structured?
Okay. You're asking me to focus on the security side.
Security, in this
Okay.
case, the
Okay.
defense forces, the
Yeah,
intelligence, the
I'll do that.
police. And the,
Ok. Tous les lundis bon matin, c'était bon matin,
Every Monday, 7 a.m.
from 2020 jusqu'à environ 2021, 22,
From 2020 to 2021, 22,
c'était bon matin, moi, je un commissionnaire de la police.
7 a.m. I met with the commissioner of police.
9h, moi, je avec Chief of Defense Forces.
9 a.m. I met with the chief of defense forces.
Après ça, moi, je avec Chief of Intelligence Services,
After that, I met with the chief of intelligence services,
followed by a meeting with the Attorney General. Ça t'est arrivé tous les lundis bon matin.
that happened every Monday morning.
Les temps, tous autres, là, ainsi de suite. Mais après ça,
While all of them were present, and after that,
ça t'y changé.
that changed.
Moi, t'y senti qu'il peut dire, au lieu de joindre les autres séparément,
I felt that instead of meeting them separately,
moi, t'y décidé pour moi joindre commissionnaire de la police, Chief of Defense Forces et Head of Intelligence ensemble. C'était bon matin.
I decided to meet with the Commissioner of Police, Chief of Defense Forces, and the Head of Intelligence Services 7 a.m. in the morning.
Et en même temps, ça, d'un certain sens, tu réponds avec la loi Seychelles Intelligence Services,
And at the same time, that corresponds with the law of Seychelles Intelligence Services
qui établit un Security Council.
that established a Security Council.
Alors, moi, je joins avec eux pour nous adresser tout bon sujet. Et
Soit.
ça, tu fais.
So I met with them to address every subject, and that made it so
Pour qui commissionnaire de la police, CDF, avec Head of Intelligence, ils tout le temps le même base. Ils connaissent quoi qui peut arriver dans le pays, là, sa côté sécurité.
that made it so that the Commissioner of Police, CDF, Head of Intelligence, was always on the same page in the way that they were aware of always what was happening in the country.
Et pendant ce meeting, tout quelque chose tu gagnes adressé.
And during those meetings, everything was addressed.
Et quand tu as défaillance,
And
nous
where-
avons rodé qui m'a pour nous arranger quelque chose.
And where there were weaknesses, we sought out how to fix things.
Quand tu as danger,
where there were dangers.
Nous avons regardé qui action qui nous besoin prendre.
We looked at what actions can be taken.
Et ça troisième monde, le côté sécurité pays.
And the three,
comment mon bon conseiller principal.
And the three individuals, with regards to the security of the country, they were my legal
main
counsel
advisors. Okay. Et en plus
main advisors, sorry. And moreover,
Moti insisté que vice-président et aussi assisté à ce meeting.
I insisted that the vice president also assisted these meetings.
Pour qui facilitant président est absent, c'est vice-président qui take over.
Because since when the president is absent, it's the vice president that takes over.
Et alors, il a besoin qu'on ait à tout moment qui peut arriver.
So he had to know at all moment what was happening.
No, thank you very much for that quite comprehensive answer that I think helps us to get a window or see the way in which you sought to manage the security sector. Okay, so yeah.
When the VP attended those meetings, was he allowed to make any contribution in the meetings?
Oh yes, sir.
Yeah. And earlier on you said that your style of administration was to allow people, give them space to do their job. The impression I've had when we've had other witnesses coming before the commission, and especially people high-ranking, is that a lot of them would say they were fearful to put before. 1 minute. They were fearful.
Sorry, mon content parfois réaliser. C'est mon pas pour causer jusqu'à que vous finissez.
I like to sometimes just react, but I will not talk and wait for. I will wait for you to finish.
Their opinions or their ideas, and the main reason they say was fear of reprisal.
Commissionnaire, moi entendre certaines réactions, les temps autres me demandent questions, ben dire qui n'assise pas s'assise.
Commissioner, I heard certain reactions when you ask questions to people that was sitting on that chair.
Mon choqué.
I was shocked.
Connais la cause?
Do you know why?
Parce que mon pas connaît si autres pères, les temps autres assises là,
Because
cause la vérité.
I do not know if they are scared when they sit here for them to speak the truth.
Ou bien si autres envie parce que mon bon du monde.
Or if they want to make it as though they are the better person.
Et dispose autres pareil nous dire que sauf autres la peau.
And just for them to, as we say in Creole, to save their skin, their own skin.
Mon dire avec vous aujourd'hui, l'état mon peut cause avec vous, m'ont désappointé.
And I will say to you today, while I am talking to you, that I am disappointed.
Avec beaucoup saban du monde qui tient la bonne gros position.
With many of those people who were in high positions.
Et qui peut gagner la paye qui plie haut qui ça qui pour moi comme président.
And that was receiving a salary that was higher than mine as president.
Et qui jodin vinn dire ça bonnes affaires.
And that they came to say these things.
And I know you say they were trying to save their skin, but impression also that they gave was that they were trying to protect other people.
But who were they trying to protect? I don't understand.
J'ai besoin d'une cause la vérité et dire quelque chose qui m'a été et m'espérer t'aller nous va gagner ça l'opportunité à travers une bonne question que moi va montrer qui m'a autres même autres qui contredisent autres les corps.
They needed to come and tell the truth. And I hope that later on we will have the opportunity when you ask me questions to clarify these things.
Certains disent il parti là.
Whereby some said that he wasn't there, he or she wasn't there.
Et après ça, l'autre est venu dit non, lui qui peut diriger.
And afterwards, another comes around and say no, he was directing, he or she was directing. So I do not understand that.
Mr. Nkalawan, I just wanted to clarify one thing, yeah? You mentioned that in the national Security Council meetings, Mr. Afif, the Vice President, was also involved in that, and answering to the question of Commissioner Vidot, you said that he did as well participate in the discussions that happened.
Oui.
Yes.
But I suppose you, as you said, you have been listening to the testimonies that went on here. And Mr. Afif says that he didn't know much about the security aspects of the country. Would that be true, or because, as you said, when you were out of the country, Mr. Afif was supposed to be in charge of the security aspects of the country. But here he said that he was not too well versed with what was going on. Could you just comment on this?
Écoutez ce que Monsieur Afif dit.
I listened to what Mr. Afif said. And I think that you are not interpreting well what he said.
Monsieur Afif dit que l'opération il concernait.
Mr. Afif said
il
that where the
technicien.
Operation is concerned, he was not there, he was not a technician.
Mais côté policy ou bien un principe, ça est au courant.
But where the policy comes into play or principle that he was aware of.
Yeah, mais c'est pour lui interférer pour qu'on ait qui vous dit, par exemple, Silver Command, Gold Command, ainsi de suite, ça bonnes affaires. Ni moment pas qu'on ait bonnes affaires.
But for him to interfere, for example, the Silver Command, Gold Command, even I myself do not know these things.
If I may ask, that Mr. Afif was not an operational person, you as the Commander-in-Chief, did you consider yourself as an operational actor in the Defense Forces?
No.
When
No.
they were...
Non.
No.
Non, ça mon quoi faut nous faire clair.
This
No.
I think we have to clarify.
Côté Defense Forces y concernait, c'était CDF qui était en charge.
When
Et
it comes
au fait,
to Defense Forces, it was the CDF who was in charge.
et au fait, nous avons fait un changement dans structure la tête militaire.
And in fact, we made a change in the structure of the head of the military.
Et ça vient le recommandation CDF lui-même
And that came from a recommendation that was made by the CDF himself
dans Defense Council.
in the Defense Council.
Et c'est là que nous appointe M. Rosette,
And that's when we appointed Mr. Wozet
brigadier général.
as the Brigadier General.
Et raison que nous avons fait ça, malgré nous l'armée petit, et on connaît dans les temps, il n'a pas, quelquefois, pas même sa petite brigadier.
And the reason why we did that, even considering the fact that our army is small, and I know that during your time we did not even have that title Brigadier,
C'était à cause Defense Forces Seychelles, type gagne plus reconnaître.
it was because the Defense Forces of Seychelles was getting more recognition.
Et à cause militaire, immense d'après rang,
And because the military works by way of rank,
ça t'y gagne mettre devant moi qui les temps lié à l'assister bonne conférence là-bas dehors, il pas gagne mettre peut-être mon cas servi ça l'expression le premier rangé au bord ben les autres général brigadier général et alors nous avons décidé pour nous sans ça
and that when he assisted conference whereby he would go as the Brigadier General, he was not placed in the...
No. When he went there as the brigadier,
When he went there as the Brigadier,
he would not sit
in
next
the
to
first row next
with
to the others,
Brigadier
Generals. So I had to change that.
So, nous sommes d'accord le Defense Council pour nous sans ça sentir.
So we fell into agreement with the Defense Council for us to change that structure.
So, nous tenons brigadier général
So we had the Brigadier General,
qui était CDF.
who was the CDF.
Then we had a brigadier who was the number 2. and then the chief of staff. Those three formed the top leadership, and then in the Defense Council, if I may just continue, dans Defense Council, après ça, t'en tout bon lieutenant-colonel.
And in the Defense Council, after that, there was all the lieutenant colonel.
Et the chief of staff, ti gagne promotion pour lui venir colonel, so that nous tenons brigadier général, brigadier, colonel, et après ça, en Bali, tenons bon lieutenant-colonel.
And the chief of staff was promoted to lieutenant colonel, and so
to colonel.
colonel. So we had the brigadier general, the brigadier, the colonel, and then the rest of the.
Et le Defense Council, ça ban les autres là, tenant un lieutenant-colonel qui tient ça as Coast Guards.
And on the Defense Council, the others, there was one lieutenant colonel who was in charge of the Coast Guard.
Un lieutenant-colonel pour ça as Special Forces.
A lieutenant colonel to be in charge of the special forces.
Un l'autre pour ça as Training.
Another to be in charge of training.
Un l'autre pour ça as Air Force.
And another to be in charge of the Air Force.
Et un l'autre pour l'administration.
And another for the administration.
And c'est ça qui forme the Defense Council, where everything to do with the military was discussed.
Was what formed part of the Defense Council, where everything was discussed.
Just one clarification. Maybe you missed this one. I think when you said that we had the brigadier general, and then you said there was a brigadier.
Yes.
Was it not the major general that was there?
No, he was a brigadier. Was it Atala?
Atala was a brigadier.
Yes.
He was not a major general.
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I think Rosette was the major general.
Rosette was the
Yes,
major
he was
general.
a two-star. Rosette was a two-star general.
Yes.
Atala was a one-star general. And then you had a colonel.
Okay. No, thank you for that. I think let's go back to the meeting, the way the approach that you took in managing the security services. So you said you held regular meetings, and of course you changed over time from meeting them separately to meeting them as a group, right? And you mentioned the police commissioner because he's the head of the police, the SDF chief of defense forces because he's the head of the military, well, under you, then the head of intelligence and the attorney general. Did you also include did the commissioner of prisons feed in any way into these meetings? Okay.
No, not at all.
So how were you getting security briefs from the prisons?
Tout ça qui concerne prison, tu viens contre moi directement.
Everything that had to do with prison did not come to me directly.
Okay.
Parce que prison, tu tombes en bas Minister of Internal Affairs.
Because the prison was under the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Tandis que ça trois les autres,
Ministry
of Internal Affairs.
Whereas the other three,
The Commission of Prison fell under the Minister of Internal Affairs.
Yeah, I thought you had said foreign.
I said foreign.
Yes. Okay. Internal affairs.
Parce que dans nos stricts, commissionnaire la police, il tombe en bas président. Et bien si avec la force défense, président est aussi commander in chief.
Because in our structure, the commissioner of police falls directly under the president and, of course, the defense force.
Et the director general of intelligence, as per the law, falls directly under the president.
No, that is very clear. So the prisons commissioner would report to the Minister of Internal Affairs, and if there are any issues that you need to be aware of concerning the security of prisons, then the Minister of Internal Affairs would bring them those issues to you.
Yes, you are right.
I think there are a lot of questions on that one. We'll come back to that after sketching this framework. So I know you had already also started talking about the details in terms of the changes you made in the defense forces, but maybe let's take a step back for me to understand how you managed the SDF as a unit. I know that you had the security briefings, but I'm imagining that you needed to do the changes that you spoke about. There needed to be some policy changes. How were you, was there a forum that you discussed these things as a president who consults and ensures that people participate? Was there a forum where you discussed these issues? Okay. Could you take us into that room and...
Okay.
Yeah.
À part when the chief of the CDF,
aside from meeting with the CDF,
lundi bon matin,
Monday morning,
tous les mois, on a a meeting Defense Council.
Every month we had a meeting with the Defense Council.
Qui, par exemple, on dit on a trois bandes de monde, ça trois heads avec un lieutenant-colonel.
Like I stated, there were all of these people, the three heads with the lieutenant colonel.
Et c'était la force défense qui prépare agenda pour sa meeting.
And it was the defense force who prepared the agenda for that meeting.
Defense Council. Les autres qui préparent tout quelque chose et nous discuter et bien sûr avec bon prior minutes and everything, nous fait matters arising pour nous regarder qui meilleur quelque chose peut dérouler.
They prepared everything, and of course, with the prior minutes, Kunji, Commissioner? With the prior
no, there were minutes. There were minutes of all those meetings, which I'm sure you will be able to have access to. And matters arising. Basically, the meetings were matters arising or new issues.
But for these meetings, there will be an agenda.
Yes.
So that anybody who has something to be discussed at that meeting would ensure that this is part of the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Commissioner. Anybody. And in fact, c'est pour ça raison qu'ils m'ont pu mettre l'emphase que sa agenda est préparé par militaire.
And that's the reason why I put emphasis on the fact that that agenda was prepared by the military.
By the military. In fact, most of the time, à part s'il y a des bonnes issues qui montent avant lever. Par exemple.
In fact, most of the time, aside from the fact if there are a certain few issues that I would, for example,
une bonne quelque chose qui m'ont changé, qui m'ont mis devant Defense Council, les outils d'accord.
One thing that I changed and put it before the Defense Council and they agreed.
C'était premièrement non l'armée. From Seychelles People's Defense Forces to Seychelles Defense Forces.
Was the name of the army from Seychelles People Defense Forces to Seychelles Defense Forces.
Zot badge. Qui los autres béret et l'auto.
The badge that is on the beret and everything they wear.
It's obvious it's on a 5 as a V, Roman V.
It was obvious that there was a 5 in the form of the Roman V.
And they sort of shaped a sword as a J, which represented the 5th of June, the day of the coup. So, ça tient quelque chose qui nous dit, nous besoin move away from tout ça ben quelque chose.
That was something that we said that we had to move away from.
Et ça tient en lien aussi avec Norban Semer qui t'en a pour faire avec coup d'État.
And that was in line as well with the names of the roads that had to do with the coup d'État.
Like Revolution Avenue, 5th June Avenue, Liberation Road, all these things nous avons décidé pour nous mettre. Et l'État m'a proposé ça.
All these things we decided to change, and when I proposed that,
especially the badge and the name, the badge ti gen réenvoyé côte militaire et c'est autres qui ti fait tout bon design ainsi de suite pour proposer avec Defense Council, and they were then adopted.
The badge was sent then to the military, and they made the changes and adjustment, and it was sent to the Defense Council.
Okay. So, one of the key policy changes was the one around the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, or resulting from the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, where now the military could be deployed to assist the police. Without going into too much detail about that, I just want to understand if there were any discussions in the Defense Council on the implementation of that reform.
Okay, moi va this only step by step.
Okay.
Let me put it step by step.
The Defense Forces Act, c'est dans beaucoup 1980, c'est dans beaucoup quelque chose là-dedans qui partit en ligne avec Constitution.
The Defense Forces Act back in 1980, there were a lot of things in it that was not in line with the Constitution.
Et in fact, c'est un amendement qui a été assented par le président Ford le 19 mai 2020 qui a essayé de faire living pour donner la force de défense police powers.
And there was, on the 19th of May 2020, it was assented by the former President Danny Ford.
Yes, Act
that
19 of 2020.
Act 19 of 2020, whereby he was trying to give police force to the defense force.
And that was, maybe I will explain that part in English for you to better understand. So in that amendment, they sought to give police powers to the Coast Guards. But the Coast Guards were part of the military. So as a matter of fact, you were giving the military police powers. But that was still not in line with the Constitution, because the Constitution provided that the defense forces could only intervene when there was a state of emergency. And arresting a fishing boat doing illegal fishing was not a state of emergency. So, which meant that even with the amendment of 2020, there was still, it was still in contradiction to the Constitution. So what we did was to give the AG, at that time was Mr. Frank Ali, the task of seeing how we could bring everything in line with the Constitution. So, and here, as I was telling you, maybe for you to get some help, if you were to ask for the cabinet paper of I forgot to bring that paper with the date. If you were to ask for the cabinet paper of June 2022, you would find that there was even, this was the first draft of the bill, which actually 163, the amendment that was being proposed was to also insert a clause which would make it clear the defense forces to assist the police force of Seychelles in carrying out its functions under Article 161. But then the advice that the AG gave to cabinet was that this one was not necessary, and that the C, basically, I'll read it, to enforce any written law in relation to public security, environment protection, maritime security, or maritime zones, and any other matters as may be specified in an act, which is in the Constitution now. He advised that this was sufficient for the defense forces to assist, and whilst keeping the provision for the state of emergency, this then allowed for the military to intervene where there is a state of emergency, and also to assist the civil authorities, basically meaning the police. But it went further. Instead of just the police for public security, which is the primary role of the police, it also went for environment protection, so that if there was a fire on Prale, the military could be called in. If there was a maritime, the Coast Guards would come in. If they needed the military, the police could call on the military to do the arrest and then to hand over to them for the. So basically, this was the spirit behind amending 163.
So now you have amended. I think I might be looking at the same document that you have as well.
Yes, the cabinet paper.
So there's those
Yes.
changes. I can see them. But I'm trying to understand. What I want to understand from you now is the law has been amended. So now you want to implement the law. Are there any discussions, policy discussions you had within the Defense Council on the implementation of this?
Yes.
Okay.
The discussions. I also want people to understand exactly what I'm saying.
Please.
Okay. So, ban discussion ti gen fait dans nos ban meetings lundi bon matin.
The discussion was held in our meetings on the Monday morning.
Et mon capable dit avec commissionnaire la police avec CDF une bonne entente l'opération pour gagner fait.
And I can say to the commissioners that the Commissioner of Police and the CDF got along well on how the operation was supposed to be held.
Et au fait, bout qui manquait, c'est que 163 il fait provision pour que sa bout là, il gagne mettre dans la loi. Okay? Et là, moi, valide ça.
What is missing is that 163 makes provision that that part is put into a law.
Okay? And it says 163C, 1C, to enforce any written law, and other matters as may be specified in an act. All that was supposed to be put in an act. But again, I will say, in defense of the AG, who was supposed to do that, overwhelmed with too much work, no legal drafters. It was always a big issue. In fact, there were a lot of laws that we needed to amend. The Police Force Act. The Police Force Act is not in line with the Constitution. The Employment Act, a lot of things that needed to be done there. So, c'est ça qu'ils ont besoin. Mais seulement, entre militaires avec la police.
That's what they needed, but between the military and the police,
ça understanding.
There was that understanding.
Qui peut dire, pareil, 161 de Constitution il dit.
That as 161 in the Constitution states,
la police qui en charge national security.
The police is in charge of the national security.
So la police li iti pour c'est l'instance qui militaire ti pour venir, c'est l'état la police il would lead militaire.
So the only instance that the military would come was when the police needed the assistance of the military.
Okay, we will get to that a bit later, but thank you. So one of the other policy decision that we have learnt of is the establishment of a special operations unit, which some people call IBU, but I
No,
understand
don't like this word.
You don't like that word?
No,
Yeah.
it's Special Ops Unit.
Okay, so the Special Ops Unit. So again, I'm not yet wanting to go into details about, minute details about how that unit operated. I just want to understand the process of setting it up, how you took the decisions, and whether there were any discussions and with who.
OK.
Yeah.
Urban commissionnaire et spécialement pour nous des commissionnaires CC-loi, nous connaissons situation dans sécurité sociale.
Members of the commissioners, especially the two Seychellois members, we know the situation, how it is in Seychelles security situations.
Confidentialité zéro.
Confidentiality, zero.
Presque tout ban l'opération qui la police type fait
Almost every operation that the police was conducted,
avant même qu'ils aient de drugs y concernent,
even before drugs were concerned,
where drugs is concerned,
avant
qu'ils aient côté pour faire l'opération, ça ban di moun ti déjà connaît qui vous dit la police peut venir.
before they go to a particular place for an operation, these people are already made aware that the police were coming.
Et moi, je aussi mettre la lutte contre la drogue comme une priorité dans l'élection 2020.
I also made the fight against drug as one of my priority in the 2020 election.
En fait, dans mon manifesto, tiens, ça élément.
In fact, in my manifesto, it contained that element.
Alors, dans ce bon meeting, nous pouvons causer le qui moyen pour nous capables de faire ce travail plus bien.
And in these meetings, we were talking about how were we able to do that work better.
Et c'est à travers cette bonne discussion que nous tombons d'accord qui peut dire sa team Special Ops qui a les trois responsabilités.
And it was through these
Les
conversations
responsabilités et ça point troisième.
that we decided that the team Special Ops, which had 3 responsibilities, it had 2 previously, but this would be a third one.
OK, c'est là que commissionnaire la police avec CDF nous tombons d'accord qui peut dire sa bonne soldat dans Special Ops il y avait aussi aide la police dans sa lutte contre drogue.
And that's when they fell into agreement, the Commissioner of Police and the CDF, that these soldiers would be assisting the police in the operations.
Alors, à part des responsabilités as the Fast Response Team ou bien Response Force qui est autour du président,
So aside from their 2 responsibilities as the fast response force that was around the president,
et après qui moi personnellement à travers discussion moi ti dit que tout bon visiting heads of state c'est sa team qui pour prendre d'autres responsabilités à cause mon tin gagne l'expérience l'étant président Kenyatta ti visite Cecil qui tient catastrophe avec la police.
and after the discussion I stated that they will get the responsibility also for the visiting heads that comes into the jurisdiction, because I had a bad experience with when Kenyatta, the
President
head
Uhuru Kenyatta
came to the country.
C'est là que Zoti aussi gagne sa responsabilité, sa deuxième responsabilité pour sécurité to bon visiting heads of state.
And that's when they were given the second responsibility for the security of every visiting head of
Mais
state.
moi vie fait clair.
But I want to make it clear,
Comme Paul avec CDF, tu connais exactement qui rôle Special Ops Unit.
Compol and CDF knew exactly what was the role of the Special Ops Unit.
So maybe on that, you want
I was going to touch on that because the impression I got from hearing from Compol and even the
CDF.
And CDF is that the CDF is telling you like he had little control, doesn't know what the special ops were doing. He had no control over the soldiers who were part of that team.
Commissioner,
I also was shocked when I heard them saying that.
Parce que la police tiwod l'aide militaire.
Because the police sought out help from the military.
Et m'a donné un exemple concret.
And I will give you a concrete example.
La police en bas zot commande ti lo pralin période un AK-47.
The police under their command was on Pralin, searching for an AK-47.
Can I just ask under whose command?
Under the head of CID then, well, I think he's still Mr. Ronnie Gillian. C'est un 50 gardes avec lui parler.
There was 50 police officers with him on Pralin.
Et ils sont pas capables de faire rien.
And they were not able to do anything.
Zoti word l'assistance Special Ops Team.
They sought the assistance of the Special Ops Team.
Qui t'y prend un bateau, fast boat, Coast Guard avec zot bandimoun la police tout ça là pour aller. Et within the hour, they found the gun, and there is a court case ongoing.
Who took the fast boat with the Coast Guard and the people from the police, and they went, and within the hour they were able to get the gun, and there's a case pending.
La police avec CDF, Compol et CDF, et mon pour répéter encore, Compol et CDF, si je dis autres parties connaissent, autres pécoses menti.
So the police, Compol and CDF, I will repeat it again, if they say that they did not know, they are lying.
But you did hear, actually you said
I
you
heard
them. Is that there was no coordination between the two?
Non, les autres types travaillent ensemble, et au fait, mon pour aussi ajouter,
But they were working together, and in fact, I will also add,
les temps pécoses le special team dans CID.
when we are talking about the special team in the
Et ça va
CID,
travailler les autres types fait, mais tout le monde y connaît.
and the works that they were doing, but everybody knew.
Et c'est pour ça raison qu'il est à mon temps d'autres, mon choqué.
And that's the reason that when I heard them, I was shocked.
So maybe let me just ask you to pause there. There are two specific issues that I would like to understand before I return back to what the other witnesses said. First, I want your version first, okay. Then we can go to what. So when you respond to these two, I want your version. So one of the key decisions that would be taken after establishing. So first, let's clarify that I don't think there is anyone who is challenging your authority to establish this unit. I think the conversation seems to be about the implementation of this decision, right? So now, as part of implementing this decision, there are two critical issues. Okay, there are two critical issues. One is the recruitment of the members of this unit. So it involved the soldiers and the police, maybe others, but for now I'm just interested in the soldiers and the police. How, in the process of recruiting these, or who were involved in recruiting and assigning members into this unit from the police and from the SDF?
From the police, tout s'y passe à travers Compol.
From the police, they went through Compol.
Et c'est là que mon pas entré dans son travail qui m'a fait.
And that's when, like I said, I do not interfere in his job.
Et zoti propose bandimon le côté la police.
And they proposed the people on the level of the police.
Et la police
ti don sa bandi moun a special allowance.
And the police gave these people a special allowance.
So ki men yazou kapab di zot pa konen?
So how can they say they do not know?
HR la police ki ti organize tout ban allowance pour tous sa bans officiers la police ki ti dans l'équipe.
It was the HR from the police that organized the allowances
I think
for all of the officers that
and
was in the police.
The same thing for the military. All soldiers in the special ops team received a special allowance from the military.
Yeah, but did the CDF or anyone, did the CDF take part in recruiting the members and seconding them to the unit?
Moi, mon parle regarder qui je parle recruit.
Me, I do not go to find out how they recruit. It's their operation.
It's their operation. So, CDF avec la police, zot qui en saz, zot la police avec zot militaire. Alors, c'est zot qui besoin regarder qui manière pour faire sa recruitment, mais seulement, obviously, le côté la police, on imagine qui je peux regarder des gens qui en ont pour faire avec narcotics already.
So CDF and the police, they are in charge of their own respective unit. The CDF is in charge of CDF, police in charge of police. So they would have to see themselves how will they do the recruitment with regards to the police. With regards to narcotics, I believe that they will have to.
But if I may.
Yeah.
So le côté la police, je pour regarder lesquels bandits qui sont pour mettre et au fait, mon capable l'a dit qui je mettent inspecteur.
On the police level, they will have to see who will they appoint, and I would like to say that they appointed an inspector.
Un inspecteur pensage de l'équipe la police et alors pour narcotics
to be in charge of the police team
dog handler
with the narcotics unit, and they assigned a dog handler.
I think you have, because I want us to move to, and we will get an opportunity to go into detail. The part I wanted to just get your version on is, and let me repeat it so that you can confirm if I understood you well. You said in respect of recruiting police officers to join this special ops unit, the police commissioner is the one who seconded, right?
Yes.
Then with respect to military, moving soldiers from the SDF pool into this unit, the CDF is the one who recommended them.
Well, the buck stops at him. So whether he assigned somebody else to, because they were all members of the special forces.
We will come back to that. Leadership of this special ops unit, it would be you who appointed the leader of the commander, or how did it work?
Okay. Sa team, par nous peut dire, son rôle principal, c'était a quick response team qui marche avec le président.
The team, the principal role, like we were saying, was to be a quick response team that walks around with the president.
So, ça dit moun qui en charge Presidential Security Unit, c'est lui automatiquement qui vient commande sa l'équipe.
So the person who is in charge of the Presidential Security Unit is automatically in charge of that team.
So just to hold, let me finish this part. So so you had the person responsible for the quick response unit. So that's the leader of this unit.
No. You had the person in charge of the Presidential Security Unit.
Okay.
That unit fell under the Presidential Security Unit.
So that's the leader.
Yes.
Okay. So the process of then recruiting members into this unit, to accommodate the new functions that you assigned to it, would have been coordinated by that person.
Yes.
Okay. And that person was who?
Well, the first premier du monde, c'était un major.
First person was a major.
OK, et ça l'étant, pour que Presidential Security Unit l'étant commencé, c'est un major, un capitaine.
At that time, when the presidential unit started, there was a major, a captain.
Et mon capable de dire avec vous qui vous dit ça capitaine parti à Neil Bristol.
And I can say to you that that captain was not Anil Bristol.
And who was the major?
The major was Major Fred Payette.
Major Fred Payette. So Major Fred, I just want to make sure we.
He was the head of the Presidential Security Unit.
So he would be the person who coordinated the recruitment or the secondment of soldiers and the military into okay.
Et son façon recruitment dans différents units, ça va suivre recruitment normal pour transfert du monde. So, et c'est pour pareil. Mais si vous pouvez prendre un soldat, vous pouvez envoyer dans Coast Guard, ça va en dans d'autres propres choses qui m'ont par contre d'autres bonnes Posée qui m'a les autres fait.
And his way of recruitment would be to follow the normal way of doing things. If they were to transfer someone, for example, to take a soldier to put him in Coast Guard, they would know their way of doing things. I would not.
But did he report to you to give you briefs on the progress with the recruitment?
No.
Okay.
No.
No, they got on with it. Et au fait, mon capable dit que ils ont fait d'autres recrutement basé sur qualification bonne maman qui ont pu expecter si ils ont bon résultats ainsi de suite le range et tout ça là how sharp they are et la plupart du temps moi passé mon autres là et mon vini mon cause exote et tout et mais c'est mon parti qu'on a demandé personnellement.
And in fact, I can say that they make their selection based on their qualifications and expectations, their result on the range. If they are sharp, and I passed by every now and then, I speak to them, but I do not know them personally.
Okay. I think he wanted. I expected.
So
Actually, you asked the question I wanted to ask.
Oh, okay.
You asked the question I wanted to ask.
Maybe just to add, I did not choose those people.
Okay. No, we'll get also there, but thank you for clarifying that.
But did you at least inform them that the caliber of people you wanted would have certain characteristics?
No, I'm not a military man. So the major and the others, they would have their criteria. I'm not a military man. I've never fired a bullet in my life.
Over to you, Commissioner.
Mr. The one thing I think just close to what Commissioner Vidot was asking, you see, those people that were coming in this unit, they were being placed close to you, very close to you. And I suppose you would have an input as well on what, your security, not only their know-how, but your personal security as a human being, as a new president. Did you not say anything about this?
Monsieur Thiron, moi va dire encore une fois, en lien avec Cécile pour tous son enfants.
Mr. Thiron, I will say it one more time in line with Seychelles for all his children, its children.
Étant motivé président,
when I became president,
tout bon bodyguards qui étaient là avant, ils ont retenu les autres positions.
Every former bodyguards who were there before, they retained their position.
Inclus Captain Asba qui tient ça à Zot, qui aujourd'hui, après être quitté dans l'armée, là il retourne pour la sécurité président éminé.
Including Captain Asba, who was in charge of them, and then afterwards he retired from the army, and now he rejoined to join the security team of Mr. Emini.
Qui m'ont dit Zot un peu pareil Nelson Mandela.
The only thing that I told them, like with Nelson Mandela, when all the white security officers was afraid of losing their lives,
you are the professionals.
I told them, you are the professionals.
And you have the responsibility to take care of the president, and that's all I expect of you.
Okay, now I do understand. I do understand the decisions that you took. But if I may go a little bit backwards, I understood when you said that this move to have the military to work alongside the police after the 10th Amendment. In your words, you said that it was designed to request services from the military in cases of national crisis. I think I heard you say this earlier.
No, not really.
From
But
the
no,
SDF.
no, it's okay.
The SDF would be called for assistance in this case. But could you tell us, because we understood that it was on a daily basis that a team, a section was prepared every day that was sent on the request of the police, and this was ongoing every single day.
Non.
No.
Et hier, moi, je suis content, ancien député Songo, tu dis avec vous. Mais ça travaille, tu déjà bien arrivé.
And you see, yesterday I was happy when I heard the ex-deputy Sangor saying to you that that work is already happening.
Et tout le temps, la police travaille avec militaires.
And the police has always worked with the military.
Dans Troisième République, de temps en temps, militaires ont crié pour faire travail qui prison. On connaît pour dire on involve là-dedans. Qui concerne prison, qui concerne les autres quelque chose, l'environnement et tout qui strictement la constitution, ça n'a pas droit à faire.
And during the Third Republic, every now and then the police would call the military to assist them with regards to the prison. You were there yourself, you are aware, with regards to other matters, the environment, which was strictly prohibited in the Constitution.
But I do understand this argument. So you just said as well again that they were occasionally called, even in the past. They were occasionally called. But what I'm trying to say is that it was on a daily basis that a section of the military personnel was always there with the police to carry out their duties.
Mon comprends que vous pouvez dire.
I understand what you are saying.
Oui, c'est dans sa groupe sorti contre la police qui est seconded to State House.
Yes, there was that group from the police who was placed at State House.
Et après, vous avez soldat.
And then you had the soldiers.
Et les temps, vous avez fait le travail, vous avez regardé qui peut arriver, ainsi de suite, en même temps aussi. Par exemple, si moi tu parles Pralin ou bien la digue, ça va accompagner moi de n'importe quelle façon.
They did their
Mais
work and
seulement,
duties
pas
to
tous les jours. Narcotics was not their priority number one.
They did their works and duties, and if I needed assistance, I was going to Prale or Adik, they would assist.
Okay,
Attend with me, and narcotics was not their priority job. They did not have only narcotics.
The narcotics team that was with the special ops, this one, I understood this one. But there was a team that was based at the army headquarters that was on a daily basis attached.
Okay. Là, because l'autre team.
Now you are talking about the other team.
I suppose, yes.
Yes, et qui sa other team qui dans un bon témoignage ça peut dire qui autres premiers pour arriver là-bas.
And that other team, in one of the testimony, they were saying that they were the first to arrive there.
Okay, so c'est une deux équipes qui peut travailler avec la police.
There was two teams working with the police.
Un qui est basé headquarters.
One that was based at the headquarters.
Et ça, bien sûr, moi, tu n'as pas aucune interaction avec les autres, moi, je connais les autres.
And that, of course, I did not have any interactions or know them.
C'était the Special Ops Team qui peut travailler en bas Residential Security Unit. So, tu as deux équipes, yes.
And the second was the Special Ops Team who was working under the Presidential Security Unit, so there were two teams.
Peut-être là, et quelque chose qui nous capable de demander une question. Mais sa team qui est basé Army Headquarters, compole avec CDF, qui l'arrangement qu'ils ont fait? Si je peux dire pas qu'on n'a rien en relation avec Tim Kitty attaché State House, mais qui l'arrangement qu'ils ont fait? Est-ce que c'est un terms of reference, rules of engagement et tout? Sur mon coin, qui c'est même ça mon peut dire, il y en a une grande contradiction. L'État dit pas qu'on est.
And the question that we can ask now is the team that was based at the Army HQ, the component, the CDF, what were they doing, what arrangements were they doing, if they said that they did not know anything about what was happening?
I think, Mr. Ramkalawan, we will sort this out to understand the contradictions that existed.
Yeah.
But again, I want to ask you another question. The CDF, when he came here, he said that there was no, he had no control on the special ops in any shape or form, except for the logistic and admin purposes. Now, what I wanted to ask you was there any instructions to the special ops for them not to cooperate with the CDF and his management team?
Intéressant ça que vous pouvez dire.
It's interesting what you are saying,
Parce qu'il y a moins de contradiction.
because now I see a contradiction.
CDF il dit pas qu'on n'a rien,
CDF says he does not know anything,
mais colonel Hollanda il vient dire où l'équipe que les autres pour les autres viennent Montagne Posée.
but Colonel Olanda came and said that he was the one that called them to come to Montagne.
Et il dit clairement qu'il peut dire they were soldiers
And he said,
and therefore they fell under the command of the armed forces. So who's telling us the truth? Which of course is not my responsibility, it's your responsibility to find out.
Or is it possible that the head of the military and the lower ranked officer were just not in sync with one another?
Well, ça fait pas in sync. Il y en a quantité quelque chose qui nous capable de causer là, même dans la police, l'état monique de peut venir ici là.
the issue of not being in sync. There's a lot of things we can talk about, especially with the police when I heard them coming here.
Okay.
Which you have to sort out, not
Yeah.
me.
Hopefully. Okay, so we have you have addressed us on the recruitment process, you know, or the composition of this special ops unit, the leadership issue. Just a yes or no on this one, because I want us to move so that we are not here until
Till
8.
10:30.
On the leadership of this special ops unit, you said there was it started with Major Paye.
Yes, he was I would say he was the head of
Yes,
the
the head.
presidential security
Yes.
unit.
And then after that came Captain Anil Bristow.
Yes.
Was there any other person who took leadership apart from these two during your time?
Well, nous, mon pas mettre le leadership, mais seulement juste pour moi dire les officiers. Parce que Captain Anil Bristol, parti captain depuis l'état, mon présidence.
I will not put it on leadership, whereas it concerns the officer, because Captain Anil was not the captain.
No, he was not a military man at that point.
He was not a military man at that point.
So, si mon capable élaborer lesquels bandits qui travaillent là comment avec Presidential Security Unit.
If I can elaborate on who are these people that work there with the Presidential Security Unit,
Okay. C'est Mazo Payet,
it was Major Payet,
Captain Asba,
Captain Asba,
Captain Fonseca,
Captain Fonseca,
et de temps en temps il y en a les autres officiers, à un moment il y en a Captain André tout.
and every now and then there was other officers. I think there was
travaille avec Presidential Security
Captain
Unit.
André also, and all of these people were working with the Presidential Security Unit.
Yeah, but I want to make sure that we understand you properly. If we as a commission, want to understand the leadership. We want to talk to the leadership of this special ops unit. Right? Is it these two, Major Paye and Captain Anil Bristol?
Yes.
Okay.
Muhammad
These are the leaders.
Yes.
There wouldn't be a third person. I understand that leadership sometimes is a team effort, but there is someone who is the head.
Yes, I would agree with you. There are two persons who have been the head of the Presidential Security Unit.
Okay.
That's Major Payet and then Captain Bristol.
And for the avoidance of doubt, they, as head of the Presidential Security Unit, they would lead this special ops unit.
Well, they would have oversight.
Oversight
of the soldiers, yes.
Okay, let's move to the third aspect regarding this unit. So, as part of implementing the policy decision to set up this unit, there would be mechanisms to enforce discipline, right? To make sure that the members of this special ops unit, as they do their work, they are doing it ethically, they are doing it professionally. To your knowledge, was there a mechanism to enforce discipline on this?
Well, tous les deux, je gagne appelé disciplinary forces.
Both of them are called disciplinary forces.
Alors, mon imagine que la police, c'est son façon pour lui mettre son discipline.
So I would think that the police would have his own way of ascertaining discipline.
Et militaire aussi, tout ça dans une façon pour exercer discipline.
And the military also had their way of exercising discipline.
Les temps autres peuvent travailler ensemble si tu n'as aucune action criminelle qu'ils n'ont fait.
But while they were working together, if any criminal action had been done,
ça c'est pour responsabilité la police pour les prendre action.
That would be the responsibility of the police to take actions.
Yes.
Okay.
C'est
So
aussi simple que ça.
It's as simple as that.
Hier, Montagne, Monsieur Songwa, peut dire que c'est pas une tel quelque chose, ils sont pas capables de faire rien. Pour moi, ça, il y a un moment, écoute-moi pour dire, la police pas faire son travail.
And for me, when I heard Mr. Sangwa saying that there was such and such and that they were unable to do anything, for me, that's the police not doing their job.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that, but when Mr. Sangwa was there and he said that, and actually I asked him,
I know.
And then he said, "Who do you report it to?"
La police, et là, mon besoin dit, la police, il arrête une quantité de soldats for speeding, fighting, and everything else.
The police, I have to say, has arrested a lot of soldiers for speeding, fighting,
Différentes circonstances.
in different circumstances.
Le special ops team, mais qu'est-ce qu'ils fait? They carry out their investigation, and if they find that there's a prima facie case, they send the file to the AG. The AG does all the paperwork, and then the file, if it concerns a military person, the file is sent to the CDF, and the CDF seeks the approval of the Commander-in-Chief. And in my time, I've had a number of files come to me, and I have always given the approval to go ahead with the case because I believe in the rule of law. So why should I protect somebody because he's a soldier? If he's involved in a case of assault, why should I protect him? Assault is a criminal offense. So the police have always been doing their work, and I can tell you, if right now there is an ongoing case So, why should the police say, who do we report it to? You don't report it to anyone. If an offense has been committed, you get on with it.
Did I hear you? So you said the mechanisms for enforcing discipline. The police would discipline their members who are in the special ops unit. The military would also. And I think that is where now you might, and you have already indicated your position on that, but maybe for clarity purposes, that is probably where you might need to give us your own version to respond to the allegations, if I may put it that way, or criticism that at least from the military side, that the major challenge, according to them, the witnesses that came here, was that it became the soldiers who were part of the special ops unit were no longer reporting to them, and therefore they were no longer in a position to enforce discipline on them.
Non. Ça pour moi, une déclaration pareille, il y a l'indication qui peut dire il y en a des gens qui participent pour une autre responsabilité.
No, this for me, such a declaration is an indication that there were people not taking their responsibility.
Now my follow-up question on that is, in the Defense Council, which you indicated earlier, because you had two platforms,
Yes.
the Defense Council where you discuss
Only with the military.
but also you had your regular security briefs where you met with the
Three heads.
the three heads. Did any of the heads of either police commissioner or, in fact, let me take that, did the CDF ever raise a concern with you that he's worried about him not being able to have effective control over the discipline of soldiers?
Capital N, capital O, bold, underlined.
No. Did the police commissioner ever raise any issues with you that he...
Capital N, capital O, bold, underlined.
Okay, so that's a no.
No.
Okay. You had asked to come in.
Mr. Ramkalawan, I would just like to clarify. Maybe you would have known, but it was not made. It did not come out in the public eye. There were certain incidents that took place in the community, and this was at the ends of the special ops unit during their operations. And obviously in press conferences that you gave at the State House, those questions came to you with regards to those incidents that took place. And you did inform the public that yes, there was an ongoing investigation that was taking place, but that was, when you said this, that was many years ago, I suppose. And still to today, nobody has heard of any actions that have been taken with whoever was responsible. Could you just clarify?
Investigation de la police.
Yes.
The issue of investigation in the police.
Moi aussi, tout, avant mon quitte l'office, moi, quoi, qui peut dire, il y en a beaucoup quelque chose qui peut arriver.
Before I left the office, I also thought that there was a lot of things happening.
Pareil, qui m'a donne une directive claire,
like I had
qui peut
given.
dire, the criminal investigation into the 2 deaths should be given top priority. Hey,
like I had given a clear directive that the latter part of what he said was in English.
I think you're talking about
Understand?
something different. Huh?
No, but
No, I mean, but you did not tell us. I mean,
non, n'a pas
maybe-
rien qui n'a plus que ça.
There's
La
nothing that
police,
went further than that.
La police qui son rôle c'est pour faire l'investigation.
The police, the role is to
Et-
do investigation.
Et mon pas contre tout, quelque chose qui est capable de rapporter les médias, nous connaissons pour dire médias aussi capable sensationnel.
I do not know all of these things that had been reported on the media and everything else.
La police, il y a dans son primary role et dans la Constitution, dans tout partout côté imité.
And the police
Police Forces Act, qui c'est son rôle pour lui investigate anything that is reported. Et si la police pas fait son travail,
and
but stops there.
The police has its role under the Police Force Act, the Constitution, and other legislation to conduct investigation. And if they do not do anything, the bus stops there.
Et mon pour aussi ajouter, nous tous nous connaissons. Il y a une quantité d'incidents qui n'arrivent pas concernant Special Ops ou bien un autre, mais avec citoyens.
And I will also add that there has been many incidents, not with the special ops, but civilians, whereby reports has been made, but nothing had been done, even if there was evidence and other matters to consider. Nothing has been done.
But I understand. I think everybody understands what you said. But how would you describe your commissioner of police plus his active deputies and whatever? How would you describe them in their functions, in their duty?
Commissioner Tyran, moi personnellement, moi feel sorry for the commissioner of police.
I personally felt sorry for the commissioner of police.
Premièrement, l'État a appointé, après ça, il y a des commissionnaires.
Firstly, when he was appointed, after that, there was 2 commissioners.
And participer coopérer avec lui.
One was not cooperating with him.
Was terminated.
One was terminated.
Et il retournait là comme un deputy commissioner.
And he has been reinstated now as deputy commissioner.
Son chef CID.
The chief of CID.
3 boulons. ASP. Il a besoin de terminer son appointement because he was involved in harassing female police officers.
With the rank of ASP, had to terminate his appointment because he...
Head of CID had to be transferred because participer dans full coopération est un bon tout ça niveau.
Because he was not giving full cooperation, and on all that level,
commissioner la police tenant challenge énorme.
The commissioner of police had an enormous challenge. They were doing things from behind his back.
And il y a quantité fois que tu dit quelque chose.
And many times where they said something to him that wasn't true.
So, as a man, he faced those challenges et il discuté avec moi.
And he discussed them with me.
Et moi, je suis capable de dire avec les autres aujourd'hui, commissionnaire de la police, il pleurait sur mon épaule.
And I can say to you today that the commissioner of police had cried on my shoulder.
Parce qu'il face trop beaucoup de challenges.
Because he was facing too many challenges.
Et le temps pour regarder, par exemple, regarder quand il envoyé la digue.
And when you look at it, for example, the police are sent to la digue.
Après ça, ils n'ont pas fait ce travail.
After that, they do not do their duties.
He has
to transfer them back to Mahé again or have to let go of some. Pralin, same thing. There was a team for a anti-narcotics team that was based on Pralin Nadig. He had to make them come back and close the team down. Because they were in charge of the drug transportation.
So the commissioner of police, Mr. Barbe, faced enormous challenges. And to this day, when I look back, I feel sorry for him. Because at the end of the day, everything then reposed on his back.
One question. what you just, anyway, the way you've just described Mr. Barbie, was he the right man for the job?
He was a good man. He was qualified, and he was the right man for the job.
But a right man for the job was not delivering.
Well, the right man for it didn't. Il parti dépend de Monsieur Barbé.
Did not depend only on Mr. Barbie.
Il besoin qu'on qui peut arriver pour aller la digue.
He was best.
Dépend lo abandé mon end. C'est ça qui m'ont peut dire. C'est difficile. Et aujourd'hui, à quoi est différent?
He was based on Mae. He needed to be able to know what was going on Parallel La Digue, and that's what I'm saying, that it was difficult. Even today, it's not different.
Aujourd'hui, la force, la police, pas sans
the police force has not
challenges.
changed. The same challenges are still existing.
Yeah. Maybe let's talk a bit more. I was still with the special ops group, but we will go back there. We have opened a conversation.
Yes. When you open, I will help you open.
But I just want, when you talk about Mr. Barbe in that way, but for me, it shows a lack of leadership, because if you're having challenges and all that, you should have leadership, being able to surmount these challenges.
Vous connaissez la solution que M. Barbe était capable de faire?
The only solution that Mr. Barbe could do was to dismiss many of these people that were there.
Et ça m'a pour insister, et aujourd'hui, Saban qui vini, Boulon, ainsi de suite, tout ça là qui cause.
And that I will insist.
Attention.
Even today, with all those people with the high ranks that came, to be careful.
So, I think you raised an issue to do a specific issue that Mr. Barbe as police commissioner was facing, which is that where there was poor discipline. Did I hear you correctly? Poor discipline in the police and not complying with instructions and so forth. Is that correct?
Quand c'est quelque chose qui peut arriver et son bon officier autour de participer dans ça c'est pour qui mérité.
There were a lot of things happening, and his officers around him was not giving him the support that he needed.
So I just
they were not giving him that
talk
support.
More about just that, because I know there are other challenges. Mm-hmm. So he informed you about this, and you said at some point he cried on your shoulder. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What did you do as the president?
Well, il pas vraiment mon responsabilité comme président.
It's not really my responsibility as president, but when we speak, all of us together.
Parce que moi pas envie rentrer dans the operational side of the police.
Because I do not want to interfere in the operational side of the police.
Mais seulement l'État il n'a ban rapport corruption.
But when there are reports of corruption on certain officers because people write letters to me or call me, I put this to his attention.
Il y en a, par exemple, il y en a certains officiers avec Boulon qui ont terminated.
And like I stated, there were officers of high rank that was terminated.
Et il y en a aussi plusieurs les autres officiers qui ont terminated.
And there were several other officers also that were terminated.
So, il a essayé pour lui regarder qui manière pour lui faire un meilleur travail et qui manière pour lui diriger la force, la police qui solide.
So he was trying for him to see how can he do a better job and how to direct the police force.
Et c'est là aussi tout quand nous mettons l'emphase sur training.
And that's when we emphasized training.
And when President Paul Kagame was here.
And when the president of Paul Kagame was here.
That's when, because Rwanda y en a un meilleur, un plus bon l'école la police.
Because Rwanda has one of the best police school.
Nous tenons sa coopération et je suis content pour moi qui peut dire premier batch ben cadet officers qui train Rwanda in fait retourner.
And we had that cooperation, and I am happy to see that the first batch of cadet officers that had attended training at Rwanda had just returned.
So nous essayer pour nous regarder comment nous donne plus training.
So we were trying to see
avancer.
how can we provide more training, how can we move forward.
Et les temps autres pour regarder, si je regarde les officiers qui dans 16 différents endroits,
And if you just
aussi voir qui peut dire une training school.
look at the officers that was in charge of certain areas, we had to send them on training schools.
I hear you, former president, about the training and so on. But I'm just still stuck on the issue of, for me, it's insubordination. If a senior police officer is given an instruction by the police commissioner and disobeys those instructions, that's insubordination. That probably is not something that is addressed through training. It is addressed through discipline. So I'm just trying to understand. So yes, I hear you very well. You at that point, you didn't want to be involved in the operations. But is there anything that you suggested to him to do to deal with the problem of insubordination?
Well, bien sûr, le côté discipline, il peut essayer.
Of course, on the aspect of discipline, he was trying.
Mais c'est moi peut-être mon pour dire, pareil moi, peut-être nous les gars trop bon.
But I would say that, like me, for example, maybe our hearts are too good.
And people abuse. And this is what happened with him as well.
So that might come back to Commissioner Vidot's comment about leadership as well, because leadership is about knowing when to be firm and when to be...
Yeah, I get you. I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Okay, you wanted to ask a question? Or okay. Can we go back to the special ops?
You love the special ops, I see that.
It's an issue that has come up and there's a direct bearing on the issues we are investigating. So we need to make sure that we get your version on everything. So let's deal with the issue of coordination. And this really is not about the special ops per se, but it's about the interagency operations. You know, operations that involve the police and the military. In your security briefings with the heads of these agencies, did you, and also maybe the cabinet discussions, did you seek to establish a written protocol to specifically indicate where the command duties lie when the police and the military are conducting a joint operation?
Nous retournons aux constitutions.
We return to the Constitution.
163 in the 10th Amendment, that there was to be an act. And that act would have been from c'est BOAG qui pouvait faire ça act.
It's the Office of Attorney General that was responsible to make that act.
Yes, mais c'est pas le dit avant beaucoup de travail encore gain fait. Et mon l'espoir,
like I stated earlier, a lot of job is yet to be done, and my hope is that
ça l'amendement en bas 10e l'amendement de la Constitution, that soon ça acte, ça bill y va présenté devant l'Assemblée et qui travaille y va fait pour nous gagner clair pour avoid any of what we are talking about.
That the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, the bill may be presented to the Assembly so that we may do the job that requires of to do
10th Amendment.
From the 10th Amendment.
So
not done yet.
Yeah, I hear you. I think your answer is clear on that. But were you satisfied that the heads of the security agencies, particularly the police commissioner and the CDF, were aware of your position as a government that the police, if it's a joint military, or if it's a joint operation between the military and the police, the command lies with the military.
Yes. Ça, 100%.
Yes, 100% to that fact.
Et c'est pour ça raison qu'il est temps, mon regarde, qui m'a mentionné plus bonnet, the Police Forces Act.
That's the reason why I mentioned earlier the Police Force Act.
Il besoin dans l'amendement, il besoin refaire.
Whereby there needs to be amendment.
À cause, c'est parce que the Police Forces Act is 1980.
That is because the Police Forces Act is 1980.
In 1980, we were in a one-party state, and in the Constitution 79, in the 79 Constitution, believe me or not, the word police does not feature one time. Because 79, 2 years after the coup, it was the military that reigned. And in the act itself, it clearly states that when there is a joint operation, the police fall under the military.
Yeah. So let me.
This is something that, and this is maybe, with all due respect,
Sure.
this is part of our history.
Yeah.
That we have to understand, and maybe it is, I mean, trying to get people to change the mindset. And I heard one senior officer, police officer, say, "Oh, if you're dealing with the army, how can you deal with the army?" This is nonsense, because we have shifted, and now we need to live that shift according to the Constitution.
And I hear you, former President, that part of a difficult history of the Republic. And you also mentioned at the beginning of your testimony that part of these reforms that you were putting in place, including changing the barrier and so forth, was to to change the mindset. So you would be aware, therefore, at the time that you are driving these policy changes, you would be aware that there would potentially be some challenges in terms of coordination, because it's not just one witness who said this. I think there are several who said it was always difficult when you do joint operations with the military for the police officer to instruct to give instructions to the military, and perhaps it has something to do with the mindsets that are still changing. So my question then is, you as a leader at that particular point, did you think about prioritizing the need to have a clearly written policy guideline, even if you were not going to get an act, but a clearly written government policy protocol that says to you all men and women serving in these two branches of security, when an operation is taking place which involves the two, the duty of command and the authority of command lies with the police.
Vous connaissez, il y a un mot qui s'appelle l'initiative.
You know, there is a word, initiative.
Et l'initiative a un grand rôle dans le leadership.
An initiative plays a great role in leadership.
Et moi, ça va expecter qui peut dire, au lieu de l'accord ou bien une façon faire verbale.
And I would expect that instead of just having a verbal way of doing things,
entre la police avec militaire,
between the police and the military,
parce qu'ils ont l'opération qu'ils ont fait ensemble,
because there were operations that they were doing jointly.
Qu'ils ont ça va dire, regardez, nous pouvons déjà faire l'opération ensemble.
They could say that, look, we are already conducting operations together.
À cause nous pas mettre quelque chose le papier pour nous gagner un clair protocole.
Why not put something in writing so that we may have a clear protocol?
Mais malheureusement, il pas arrivé.
But unfortunately, that did not happen.
Et qui, aujourd'hui, on peut dire, non, n'a pas anything in writing.
And today I would say, no, there is not anything in writing.
But, il y en a un understanding.
But there is an understanding.
Yes.
I heard you.
And mon connaît qui vous dit, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist.
And I know that
This
you
is
would
what
say.
the judge would
Please,
say.
yes.
Yeah, Mr. Ramkalawan, you see, an understanding in the forces when operations are taking place. It doesn't work. It's not valid because then there's a lot of chaotic incidents that take place. I think you agree with me.
Yes.
The question was, you as the head of state and the head of the defense forces were every Monday carrying out meetings with the head of the forces. Did you not try and ensure that those things were put on paper so that, you know, things were very clear in order for...
Hindsight. Si nous utilisons tout quelque chose basé sur hindsight,
If we judged everything based on hindsight,
we would be perfect human beings. But l'étant un issue pas levé,
but when an issue is not raised,
when quelque chose peut marcher,
when things are working
la
okay,
police a besoin d'assistance avec militaire, vous êtes dans autre façon, militaire est venu, n'a pas personne qui ne gagne battre, touiller, ainsi de suite.
police requires assistance from the military. They have their way of doing things. The military
Vous
assists that
travaillez
nobody
le
is
côté
beaten or
narcotique,
killed.
la police in secondes officiers, ainsi de suite, peut travailler.
They're working on the level
Tout
of
quelque chose peut
narcotics.
marcher bien.
The police have officers. They are working. Everything is working well.
Il pas venir dans l'esprit.
This does not arise in your mind.
Là, à cause qu'il y a une commission d'enquête.
And just like now, why are there a commission of inquiry?
Parce qu'il y en a quelque chose qui marche mal.
Because there are things that did not go well.
Et là, pour le moment, prison, nous pouvons faire une commission de prison qui est arrivée en décembre 2024. Mais, question, Montagne Posée, il faut vraiment tranquille, il faut vraiment un ordre.
And now we are having the commission
N'a pas
about
de drogue, n'a pas l'alcool, n'a pas t'as bonnes affaires qui viennent dans la prison,
about
n'a
the
pas manque de discipline là-bas.
what happened
Anyway.
in December 2024. So now what we ask is the prison at Montagne Posée, is it okay? Is everything going smooth perfectly? Are there no problems with drugs, alcohol, things entering inside the prison?
I do...
Il y a un transport, il y en a qu'est-ce qui ne fait qu'arriver là?
There's just a case
Drogue dans un prisonnier qui peut travailler STC,
that has
20
recently
grams.
come up with prisoners that was going to work at STC with 20 grams of drugs.
We're going to get to there, but
And, no, just something to mention. You say like everything is working fine, so there's nothing. I disagree with you because things were not working fine. Not everything was working.
He said not working.
Ok,
Fine.
nous respectons l'opinion, mais seulement, mon peut dire qu'il n'a pas aucun rapport. Par exemple, l'État entier, là, comme président, ou gagne une quantité de lettres tous les jours, on ne sait pas combien de lettres qu'il recevoir.
I respect your opinion. For example, when I was there as the president, I received a lot of reports, letters.
Mais on peut dire que dans bonne l'opération, la police et le militaire,
But I would say that in operations under the police and the
moi,
military,
personnellement, quelquefois, des trois lettres qui m'ont recevoir et qui m'ont passé avec l'autorité concernée.
me personally, maybe I received 2 or 3 letters which I handed over to the concerned authority.
So can you come to a conclusion that you were receiving letters Would that be from the civilian population?
From everyone.
Okay. But then in those meetings that you chaired every Monday with the different heads of the forces, nobody came with problems to you? I mean, pertinent problems that they were facing?
Oh yes.
They did?
Yes.
Oh yes.
And were there ideas that you gave them in order to
Bien sûr.
You did.
Nous
Of
pouvons
course.
discuter, nous pouvons regarder. C'est une comparaison. Une comparaison commissionnaire, nous pouvons cause la digue, quand il y a un problème la police.
Yes, when we are discussing, for example, with the commissioner, when we are looking about the issues that, if there's an issue on LADIC, for example, with the police,
So, nous allons regarder ensemble avec CDF, ensemble avec Head of Intelligence, pour nous regarder lesquels sont les officiers qui peuvent faire problème et qui certaines solutions qui nous capables. So, on peut discuter le ça niveau, mais après ça, quoi à l'autre niveau plus bas, ça y est entièrement dans le carré commissionnaire.
and we discussed together with CDF, the head of intelligence, who amongst these officers are causing trouble and what is the solution, and that is on that level. And then there's the other level further down that this goes on the level of the commissioner.
I do understand. I understand. Yeah, at the level you are, then there's the commissioner of police, and as you are well aware, in the defense forces, we've got a chain of commands. I think this is clear.
This I know.
We've got a chain of commands, and from the compol, we've got the deputy compol, we've got other branches and whatever it is. It brings down to station commanders, and then it comes to their men and whatever it is. But again, we go back to this discipline problem. If the station commanders, they are not carrying out their jobs properly, then this would impact on the police force itself.
Oui.
Yes.
Okay? So I mean, it was very easy. I find it very easy for the compol to deal with those situations. If you've got one person giving you a problem in one LADIG station, you deal with him. But if there's a collaboration between the person involved in creating problems plus the station commander, then I think it's a losing battle with
Oui.
Yes.
Mais c'est ça que je peux essayer de dire.
But that is what I'm trying to say.
Mais même aujourd'hui,
Even
dans
today,
nous la force, la police, on a un bons officiers,
in our police force, we have good officers.
mais en même temps aussi, on a quand c'est bons officiers qui pas bon, qui c'est pour sa raison qui il est temps. Il y en a qui sont en cours, soit on peut dire, ou bien l'autre, ou bien on pas capable de faire ce travail qui public qui pas satisfait.
And that at the same time, we have a lot of bad officers, and that is the reason why we lose cases in court, or that they are not performing the job, or people are not expecting them to perform what they're supposed to do.
Mon capable de dire avec eux, et nous tous, si nous pouvons faire face avec réalité, mais là, l'État nous peut causer une corruption qui peut arriver dans la police.
And I can say to you, if we are facing reality, even as we are talking now, corruption is happening in the police force.
So, take a 10-minute break. Can we take a 10-minute recess? Then we will continue afterwards.
Good.
So normally they ask us to remain seated until they switch off. I don't know.
I know those procedures.
So maybe you can switch off, but I know that. So maybe because there are people in the room, so I think you can go on to switch off. It's fine. I'm just trying to establish a protocol that I think what we will